Hey everybody, it's Cyborg. I'm going to go over some of the details of the Watchtower stream that NetherRealm did today. A lot of it was kind of what we've seen before, but I mean there was a good chunk of info that can be taken from it, other than the beta codes going out right after the stream. So that's pretty cool. Obviously they're going in waves, so a lot of us haven't received ours yet. But going towards the roster itself, we did learn that the initial roster was going to be the largest roster that they've ever done for a NetherRealm Studios game, so I believe that just counts MK9, MKX, and Injustice in there. It doesn't count previous ones. Obviously, we're not going to get more than 50 or anything like that, going back to Armageddon. But what we can tell is from MK9, if you count Kratos, it was 28, so we're guaranteed to at least get more than 28 initial roster, so that 31 roster spots in the initial roster could be plausible from the website. So that's looking good. That's looking likely. They also said they would have the most DLC for a game from a NetherRealm Studios game, so that is kind of obvious because they already announced 9 characters, which would be the most for that, I believe. I guess not if you count Goro plus the 8 that they released in the combat packs, so that would be 9 in itself. So maybe we're getting 9 plus Darkseid, but yeah, I don't know how that breaks down, if Darkseid's included in the 9 or if 9 is not including Darkseid, which is what my guess would be, is it's not including Darkseid because you get him as a pre-order anyways, plus the 9 DLC characters, so that'd make a total of 10, I guess, if you go, so they'd go one step beyond MKX. And that's just what they have planned now. There's no saying that they might not do more in the future. One other little tidbit that I got from there was they said Injustice 1 DLC characters are unlikely for the main roster this time around. They're focusing on new characters, but you may see them again in the future. Yeah, that's a little scary. I guess Martian Manhunter and Zatanna just aren't. I mean, we all kind of expected that maybe like Zod wasn't coming back, Scorpion was unlikely to come back, Batgirl and Lobo seemed to be kind of like 50-50 in that regard, but Zatanna and Martian Manhunter, especially Martian Manhunter, who had a big uproar when he wasn't in the first game, and now he's unlikely to make the main roster this time around. That's not looking good for Martian Manhunter fans, so I could see a lot of upset people, but at least we did get him in the last game, so there is that. But I mean, is that going to be enough to keep people happy in this game, not having him on the initial roster or DLC? When they say he'd be surprised if we didn't see him again in the future, or that we wouldn't we haven't seen the last of him, I believe it was his direct quote. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're once again DLC, but then that's kind of going against how they're going from MK 2011 or MK9, whatever you want to call it, into MKX. They said they weren't going to do the same DLC characters twice in a row like that. So that's a little bit scary that we're not going to get Martian Manhunter or Zatanna this time around. So who knows where we're at with that? Maybe there'll be premiere skins, maybe something else. Who knows what's going on? But yeah, it's starting to look like maybe they will not make this game. But they did say they're going to have a lot more obscure characters this time around. In Justice 1, they tried to tackle the main, DC characters who you associate with DC, the most iconic characters, so to speak. So they wanted to have a little bit more obscure, off-the-wall characters this time around, taking up roster spots. So we'll see how that pans out. I mean, we've already got a couple with maybe you say Grodd or Atrocitus. I don't know if I'd call them really obscure characters, but they are lesser knowns compared to a lot of the ones we've seen in Injustice 1. So, with that being said, we'll see how the roster pans out. But so far, a 31 character initial starting roster with 9 DLC characters is looking likely, which isn't bad. That's a pretty large size roster. If we get 40 characters at the end of the day, that's rather decent. So, that would be pretty cool. I'm excited for that. I'm just a little worried about who's going to make the roster at this point, but with such a big initial roster and so much DLC as well, there's a high chance that a lot of our favorite characters are going to make the cut this time around, so that's really awesome. But that's all I really wanted to cover this time, guys, is just kind of touch upon those little roster notes that were coming out of the stream, just in case you didn't catch it, or you didn't catch those details while you're watching it, because they kind of rapid fired a lot of the questions. But yeah, those are the main things I took out of the questionnaire thing that they did, was roster related stuff. I know we're all super hyped, super speculating all the time about who's going to make the roster, how big is the roster going to be, how many DLC characters, who from the first game is going to make it into this one. They kind of touched upon a little bit of all that. So with that said, That's all I have to cover this time. You can rewatch the stream on their Twitch channel, but stay tuned. I will be putting up a Robin trailer reaction as well here soon, and plenty of other good stuff to come. We're going to be doing all the Injustice 1 comics here starting February 1st. A new issue every single day, so I think that's like 73 days straight or something crazy like that. So we're already getting started on that, so that way that's ready for you guys, and a lot of good stuff leading up to the Injustice 2 comic, as well as the Injustice 2 game, of course. And we're going to be streaming the beta, so there's going to be that. So there's all sorts of craziness. So with that said, that's all for now, guys. Looking forward to the roster and seeing who else makes the cut. Have a great day.